This is Val, your go-to gal for all things healthy, fitness, diet, and happy living. How are you today? I hope all is well. I thought today, since the weather has been so cold and nasty here on Long Island, New York, that I'd make one of my famous Instapot meals. It's quick, it's easy, and it's so nutritious, it's crazy. So I want to show you mostly the pot so you can see what's going on. I have it plugged in. So what we're going to do right now is, before I do anything, I'm going to add, this is actually, it's a chicken soup. It's supposed to be made with rice. However, I make it with something called farro, which is this. I find it has a nutty, more grainy flavor, and it really makes it delicious. But you can do brown rice also. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of avocado oil in here. Okay. And we're going to put that on saute. Okay. Let that warm up just a little bit. Hit the saute button. There we go. All right. Now it's on. And I'm going to put in, as that heats up, I already cut 1 whole onion. So that's going to go in here. We're going to let that cook down a little bit, just till it's translucent. And while we wait for that, I like to chop for this one. Some people like to slice, which you can. If you want the vegetables bigger, I'll use 2 carrots, 2 celery, all organic. And what I normally do is I use my little pampered chef tool here. And I'll just cut them up into pieces. And then we chop away. Oof, strong onions. Great for a weeknight meal when you're in a hurry. You got a lot to do. And it's delicious. The whole family will love it. You won't even know there's kale in it. We don't have to make it too small. Okay. Now we're going to push this aside. And then we're going to do our same with our celery. The recipe normally calls for zucchini, which I personally don't like in it because it makes it very watery. So I added the celery instead. It makes it has a little bit of flavor, I think. Check that up. Okay. Sink. Okay, these will go in just a bit. Let's see how our onions are doing here. All right, coming along nice. Coming along nicely. Now, when they're a little more translucent, I'm going to be adding 4 cloves of garlic. I use minced because it's faster. Normally, I will use fresh garlic, but for nights in a pinch, I will use minced garlic. I also previously cut up my chicken. This is organic. Highly recommend organic meats and dairy. Okay, no hormones, no antibiotics, no fillers, no nothing. So this is what's going to be going in next. Okay, stir this up a little more. See if we can't get them going. The trick is too, not too much oil. All right. Oil does add calories and fat, although avocado is a good fat. Should be done in just about a second. Maybe we can throw the garlic in now. I approximate, that to me is like a toe of garlic. Or clove, whatever you call it. It's an Italian household, we like lots of garlic. Keeps the vampires away. Alright, I'll just stir that up because you don't want to burn your garlic. Burnt garlic is not good. Can't wait till YouTube comes out with an aroma feature. Because it smells so good. Alright, we're just going to let that sit just for a second. We're also going to be adding, not yet though, I use organic low sodium chicken broth. Regular chicken broth has about 500 milligrams of sodium, which is absolutely ridiculous. So this one has about 135, which is much more manageable. As we get older, it's very important to watch our salt intake, blood pressure reasons. So we're going to be doing that, and then we're going to season it up nice. Okay. Right about now, I guess I'm going to put our chicken in. Alright, I'm going to brown that up nice. The beauty of this meal too is if you don't eat it all, you can freeze it, or it's very good for lunch the next day. And it's very hearty and filling. It's got all good stuff in it. Oops, I almost forgot to get the kale. Now, this recipe really calls for chicken thighs. I'm not a big fan because of their fat content, but it will make it more flavorful. So you can do it either way. I use 2 organic chicken, boneless, skinless breasts. Okay, I'm just going to brown it up on our sides. And then after this, everything just basically gets thrown in, and it cooks for 25 minutes. Then you let it sit for 10 on low, and it's done. So the prep time is about 15 minutes. So while it's cooking, you can go about and do whatever else you need to do. Almost there. Then I like to put the broth in next to stop the cooking of the onions and the garlic and the meat. You don't want to overcook the meat, so it gets tough on you, especially chicken breast, considering there's not much fat. So you want to be careful with that. Just brown it nicely on all sides. There we go. Whew. Get my eyeballs. Get my eyeballs. Be careful too. I'm trying not to delaminate the cabinets. So far, so good. All right. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to put in our broth. Shake it up well. Okay. I like to go around the sides so I can get all the garlic off the sides of the pan. Get everything down in there. All right. So you want the whole container in there, which is 4 cups. Okay. We can also put in our celery. And our carrots. Good cooks cook with their hands. It's love and flavor. Alright, so now we need 3/4 of a cup of farro. Like I said, this is a great source of fiber. It's organic. Bob's Red Mill makes a really great product. All their stuff is absolutely delicious. So if you can see, if you've never looked at farro before, it kind of looks like this. It's grainy. It's an ancient grain. Okay? So maybe the pharaohs ate farro. I don't know if it's that ancient. So we want 3/4 of a cup of that. Okay. No, actually, it's 2/3. I'm sorry. It's actually 2/3. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. So there's your carb. We've got our protein. We've got our veggies. We've got our carbs. how we go for spice. Okay, so we need 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. Come on. We need 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. I'm sorry, 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. 2 teaspoons. Now I also like to throw in a little basil. Gives it a nice flavor and aroma. I do 1 teaspoon of basil on top of all that. Running low. And it calls for 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt. I never use that much salt. And I also use something called Celtic sea salt, which is much better for you. It's difficult to find at the moment, at least this brand. I'm just going to take a pinch. This is it's kind of coarse anyway. So we're just going to put a pinch of it in. We can season it later on a little bit more if we want. But again, watching that blood pressure. Okay, so let's stir this up. Stir it up. And last but not least, kale. Lots of kale. The recipe actually calls for lacinato kale, but I'm a huge Tuscan kale fan because of its crunch and of its texture and the way it holds up in the soup. So I rip it into small pieces, making sure not to get these big stems in here. The last thing you want. Too chewy. Okay, so you can put as little in or as much as you want. That's entirely up to you. I like to put a lot because I like my greens. Okay. I have a friend in North Carolina who absolutely hates kale or anything green. So every time I make this, I make sure I send him a huge picture of it. Just to annoy him. And what does he do to me? He sends me candy and chocolate and pictures of cake. Love you, John. Okay, get this going. It'll be cooking in no time. You see how fast this was? It's a great weeknight dinner. Hearty, nourishing. I guarantee the whole family will love it. And the kids. So it makes about 6 servings. It says 8, but if you take big servings, probably more like 4. But still, it's really not high in calories. So you can. You could even have it with a nice piece of whole grain bread. Goes very nice with it. Whole grain crackers. Okay, put a little bit more in. And then we're going to let it cook. First I'm going to turn this off. She's smoking. We don't want that. Then we're going to go to pressure cook mode. Oh, sorry gang, I should have broken this kale up beforehand. But I did not. Alright. I think maybe that's good. Like I said, the more kale the better. We call kale the artery scrubber. Apparently it removes plaque, which is a good thing. Surprisingly, luckily, kale can be a little bitter. It does not do anything to the flavor of the soup to make it so. So that's good. You could use other stuff too if you wanted. Spinach, I don't think it'll hold up as well. And that I would probably put in at the very end. But because this is so coarse, it can stand up to the pressure cooker. That looks like a good ratio. It does shrink down like spinach. All right, maybe a couple more pieces. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to close her up. Now, since we're pressure cooking, we do not want this venting, so it's got to be closed. Okay. You're going to hit pressure cook for 25 minutes on high and hit start. And there we go. I guess I'll see you back in a few minutes.